Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. In this video I am going to rank the Queen albums. The reason why I'm doing this is I watched James Griffiths' ranking of the Queen albums. I've actually watched this about 3 times. Thoroughly enjoyed it, kept coming back to it, and he tended to pick a few oddballs for his, well, I'm going to put a link into James at the bottom of this for James's video. It's very interesting and he makes some really good points. Mine may raise a few eyebrows as well, but I always say whenever you do a ranking video, you pick albums that you actually prefer. I try not to actually look at what's critically acclaimed and what's not. The way I do it is, do I like the album? If I love the album, it gets higher than one that I don't love as much, no matter what the critics say. Okay, starting off, and everybody usually puts this last. So this Flash Gordon at number 15. It's not bad actually, but it is what it is. It's a soundtrack album from what I can remember on a hilarious tacky film from 1980. In fact, I think it was the first VHS I ever hired out, because we got a VHS player, or a video player as we called it, in 1981, and so it was down to the local record shop that did videos, and I think this was the first one that we ever got out. Give this as credit, it's a true soundtrack, so you get snippets from some dialogue from the actual film, but really song-wise there's only 2 songs here. The Flash theme, which had to be reworked as a single because they couldn't release it as it is on this album, and The Hero, which is a great Brian May rocker, but again it has to come down at number 15. Okay, number 14, and this is probably the first raised eyebrow. Innuendo. This is the actual copy I bought in 1991, wasn't it? 91, yeah. I tried so much to really like this, but it never really sunk in with me. I do really like the title track, Innuendo, which I look at as Queen's Almost Kashmir from Led Zeppelin. It's that type of song, but I think it's the Spanish guitar, flamenco guitar, whatever it is. I think Steve Howe plays that in the middle, really sets this up for me. The verses I'm not overly keen on. I don't think there's great singles off this. I'm Going Slightly Mad, I just do not think is a great song at all. Headlong is a bog standard and quite weak Brian May rocker. The Show Must Go On, I think, regarding the circumstances around this, yes, I can understand The Show Must Go On as a wonderful track. But musically I don't rate it, and I think These Are the Days of Our Lives, which everybody seems to love, and I can understand again because it was around Freddie Mercury's death, and what a song to write. But he didn't even write it, it was a Roger Taylor song, but he sung it of course. And but I think this is their most dated sounding album, especially These Are the Days of Our Lives. Don't get me wrong, there are some really good songs on here. My favourite 2 would be Taylor's Ride the Wild Wind, which is great. In fact, you will find out as we go along here, the 1980s Queen, for me, belonged to Roger Taylor. He wrote the best songs. I Can't Live With You, I think, is a good song as well. But the rest, well, Delilah is fun. Delilah is a fun song about Freddie's cats. But overall, this is obviously got the edited versions. This is the original LP that I picked up, and I prefer the edited versions because the other ones are just too long and they're not that great. Sorry, but no. So that would be my number 14. Number 13, the one before it, The Miracle. Again, the best songs in these are Roger Taylor songs. Invisible Man, which I always thought would have been a John Deacon song with the bass lick, but it's not, it's a Roger Taylor song. And Breakthrough. I Want It All has to be one of Brian May's most generic rock songs. It's almost a parody type thing on Spinal Tap. I want it all, I want it now, fist pump, yo yo yo. I don't like it. I don't even like the song at all. Party and Khashoggi's Ship start this off actually quite well, but then it falls down a bit. The Miracle is more or less a couple of songs patched together which don't really blend as well as they should, but it's still not bad. Scandal is meh. But again, the rest of it, it's not great for me. Breakthrough, the actual version on this here is nowhere near as good as the single. Single seems to be speeded up a little bit, slightly remixed. But yeah, I slightly prefer this to Innuendo. It's not their best, and I detest that cover. I just can't abide it, and I can't abide that either. That there's creepy. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the back of Wings at the Speed of Sound, but a creepy version of it. So, number 12, and this is better, and James didn't include this. This is Made in Heaven. This was released in '95. Again, the hit single off this was a Roger Taylor song, Made in Heaven. But I do like things like Let Me Live. I think the version of I Was Born to Love You is great as well, although I do love Freddie's solo version. And I also love the version of Made in Heaven. Yes, this is a cobbled together album with bits and bobs and steals from his solo stuff, but it's still a very, very strong album. It's a Beautiful Day, I believe, came from the 1980 sessions. Yeah, A Winter's Tale, maybe not so keen on that, and I'm not so keen on Too Much Love Will Kill You. I think it's just a bit sappy. But yeah, it's a good album, and it's better than the last two in my book anyway. Some people just don't even acknowledge this as an LP. I do. Okay. Right, this may raise an eyebrow or two because it's so low down. And that's 1980's The Game. Why have I this so low down? And why has another one not been included yet? Oh my god, is this boy gone mad? Oh no, this does give the glare. Sorry about this, folks. This has got strong songs on it, but to me this doesn't feel like an album as a whole. This feels like a collection of songs, just a collection of songs with a name, an album name put on it. Yes, another one, Bites the Dust, is great. Play the Game is quite a generic Freddie song, but I really do, I'm very keen on it because I love the synthesizer bit in the middle. Sail Away Sweet Sister is Brian May's weakest sort of acoustic type led song, which he was fantastic at doing in the 70s. Crazy Little Thing Called Love, huge hit in Britain, huge hit in America. Yes, I can't deny it's a great song, but I'm a bit sick of it, to be honest with you. Don't Try Suicide is, no, it doesn't work for me. And the best two songs are Surprise Surprise, Roger Taylor's Rocket, and Coming Soon. It's not a bad album, it just doesn't feel like an album to me. It just feels like a collection of some very good songs and some maybe not so good songs. One thing I will say with Roger Taylor, I think he developed so much in the 1980s. He was the weakest of all the songwriters in the 70s, without a doubt. And what happened, I don't know. I think his album that he released in 1981, Fun in Space, and I do recommend that you buy that. It's a wonderful, wonderful album. I think that just transformed him, and he was able to, it gave him confidence. Granted, his second album in the 80s, Strange Frontier, is nowhere near as good, but still, I recommend that, Fun in Space. So, number 10, now this one used to sit right bang at the bottom of my list until I got it on vinyl. I had it on CD. I couldn't stand it. I thought it was dreadful. I don't know why I bought it on vinyl. I just think I wanted to fill up the collection. This was below Flash Gordon as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed this when I played it on vinyl, especially side 2, which I would not have given the time of day to before. And that's A Kind of Magic. Yes, this is a 80s sounding album. Things like One Year of Love is a very 80s sounding song, but it's a good track. Friends Will Be Friends, it is one of those reach for the bucket and throw up tracks because it's so sickly sweet. I Want It All, no, that's not I Want It All, well, One Vision, sorry, One Vision, I think it's a bit standard too, but it's better than I Want It All. The Kind of Magic, again, one of the best tracks on it, Roger Taylor song, as is Don't Lose Your Head, which is another Roger Taylor song, which more experimental. And at the time, I could not stand the song Who Wants to Live Forever, but it's seriously growing on me. So yeah, A Kind of Magic is my number 10, and it's really going up the ratings. I don't think it'll get any higher, but yeah, great song. Great album, sorry. Okay, number 9. Oh my god, he still hasn't shown another album. Has he not got it? This is Jazz, number 9. This is their last 70s album. When this is good, this is brilliant. When this is bad, this is awful. Don't Stop Me Now is on this, which I rate as possibly, with the exception of Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen's finest ever song. Yes, I know I know what the lyrics are all about, and it's a rather seedy and so forth, but it's just a magnificent song. I have so many memories of that from youth club way back in the day in 1979 or so. This came out in 78, but I think the single was 79. Jealousy's beautiful ballad. Mustafa is bonkers. You know, let me see what else is on it. Oh, Bicycle Racing Fat Bottom Girls is a fine single. But when this is bad, this is bad. Fun It, Roger Taylor is awful. More of That Jazz, Roger Taylor is awful. If You Can't Beat 'Em, Join 'Em, John Deacon is not far from being awful. And I'm never too keen on Let Me Entertain You. The sound of this album's a little bit muffled. It's not overly brilliantly produced, but a couple of other highlights I really do enjoy. I enjoy Dead on Time, Brian May, and his beautiful acoustic song If Leaving Me Ain't Easy, which just blends beautifully into Don't Stop Me Now. Brian May on vocals on that one, by the way. So yeah, this is number 9. This is patchy, but it's still very good. Okay, now we're getting into what I call the really great Queen albums, and it may surprise a few, but I have this here at number 8. Now, why do I have this at number 8? Because I think this sounds like an album. Yes, it's disco-y, yes, it's nightclubby, yes, it's not their style of music, but it feels like an album altogether. You know, as a whole, it feels like an album. The only exception where it doesn't feel so much is the Under Pressure single, which could have been left off, but I suppose it was there to promote it. Staying Power, the opener, is awesome. Love it. Play it out loud, sing it, let it rip. Dancer does feel as if it's a Brian May rocker that has been given the sort of nightclubby, disco-y type treatment. Back Chat, the music's great. Music's great. Only thing I don't keen on the Back Chat is the way the actual lyrics sort of form together, like back chat, da 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 da, back chat. Not so keen on that, but the music behind it's fantastic. Body Language, well, it had to be the single because it's just so left field. It's unbelievable, and yeah, I like it. I really do. I think it's hilarious. Now, Action This Day is one of the best songs on it, and it's maybe a little bit more traditional Queen. It's Roger Taylor again, one of the best ones of it. And Put Out the Fire is a really good, strong Brian May rocker in the sort of normal Queen style. You will find that side 2 of this would be more Queen than side 1. Side 1's more experimental. Calling All Girls is the song that should have been the first single off this. It's really catchy. Brilliant single material. I think it might have been a single in America. Roger Taylor song again. and Las Palabras de Amor is you know, a bog standard Queen sort of verse chorus, big verse big chorus, verse big chorus. But to me, this one works far better than Brian May's previous effort, which was Save Me. Cool Cat, which originally had David Bowie on backing vocals. Check that out on YouTube, it's really good, but I like this version as well. I just think it's a real funky, almost like a Nile Rodgers groove. And then you have the tribute to John Lennon, which is nice, and it's nice music, but it's destroyed by one lyric when Freddie sings, "Lennon is a genius." I like subtlety whenever it comes to tributes, and that one just made me go, cringe. But no, this album, I love it to bits. It gets nowhere near the recognition it deserves. It sounds like a proper album. It's just maybe not in the same taste as what most Queen fans would expect. Okay, now this is going on very, very slow, so I need to hurry up. Number 7, Sheer Heart Attack, 1974. Side 1 is excellent, side 2 is where it lets it down. Killer Queen, the big hit, as was Now I'm Here. The one thing about side 2 I do love is the opening and closing tracks, which is In the Lap of the Gods and In the Lap of the Gods Revisited. Both of those are wonderful. It's what's in between is just not so good. Dear Friends is, you know, She Makes Me is a little bit boring, and Bring Back That Lyra Brown is nowhere near as good as things like Seaside Rendezvous or Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon. But yeah, opening up with Brighton Rock, a great song, great guitar solo in the middle. May go on a little bit too long. And one of Roger's best songs, Tenement Funster. The Flick of the Wrist into Lily of the Valley is a nod back to Queen 2, but it's just as good as anything on Queen 2. So yeah, Sheer Heart Attack from 1974, their second album from 74, is my number 7. Number 6, Day at the Races. Follow up from Night at the Opera. Yeah, what can you say? It's got Somebody to Love on it. It's got Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy on it. The Millionaire Waltz is bombastic. It's like its predecessor. It is bombastic. I think maybe, yeah, I enjoy it. It's a brilliant album, but you knew that after this one they wouldn't do another album like this as such. You and I, the John Deacon song, I think should have been the second single rather than the more guitar heavy generic Tie Your Mother Down, which really doesn't do that too much for me. You Take My Breath Away is a beautiful ballad, not quite as good as Love of My Life, but not far away. And yeah, it's a good strong album. I don't tend to play this one that very much. I got sick of this very, very quickly one time, and I need to revisit it again. I think I overplayed it. That's when I first got this. I got this in 1982, I remember that, buying it off a friend. And I played it to death, and I really did get sick of it, but still, excellent album. Number 5, they followed it up with News of the World. Iconic cover. Possibly the best Queen sleeve, in my opinion. The 1-2 of We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions. What a way to open. Roger does hit gold with Sheer Heart Attack, the song which is like hit their song for punk. It's his punk song. Spread Your Wings, the second single, I believe is the only single. Now somebody may be able to correct me on this. Spread Your Wings, I think, is the only Queen single that does not have any backing vocals. It's just Freddie the whole way through. Good Roger, a John Deacon song. All Dead is a lovely Brian May song as well. Only one I'm not too keen on is Sleeping on the Sidewalk, which is like a generic sort of blues number, really. Not overly keen, but My Melancholy Blues at the end, wow. That's what I'll say is wow. So that's News of the World, number 5. Number 4, Queen's debut. How to Keep Yourself Alive was never a huge hit single, I do not know. This is the proggy type Queen. It's a little bit, no, it's not patchy. This is really, really strong actually. Side 1, you just can't beat. Keep Yourself Alive, Doing Alright, Great King Rat, which is wonderful, and My Fairy King. Side 2 maybe not quite as good, but you still do have Liar. If you ever hear the edited single version of Liar, oh dear God, it's awful. It is awful. I could do a better version on my Nero, my computer, to be quite honest with you. Modern Times Rock and Roll is a good song from Roger, very speedy. Yeah, this is a good heavy rock album. It's my number 4. Really enjoy this. Number 3, and the best 80s album for Queen, I've talked about this before, is The Works. You know, people say this is a return to form. I don't think it is. I think it's just it's going back in the old direction after The Wonderful Hot Space. But yeah, 4 hit singles, 1 written by each of the guys. This is the one that they had in the bag before they did Live Aid. Wonderful album. I can't say a lot more about it. Best of the 80s, without a doubt. And number 2, Queen 2. This is their prog album. This is actually a reissue with the non-blurred sleeve. Yeah, side 1 and side 2, which was side A and side B on the original release. Side A is basically Brian May with 1 Roger Taylor song, and side B is all Freddie Mercury. Both sides are excellent in their own right, but side B gets it. The Fairy Fellers, I can't even say it, the Fairy Fellers Masterstroke. The Fairy Fellers, look it up, I can't say it. Excellent going into Nevermore, which reminds me of the one-off Sheer Heart Attack, Flick of the Wrist, going into Lily of the Valley. This has got 7 Seas of Rye on it as well. Wonderful album. It is their proggest album. It's not easy to get into at the start. This does require listening, but this does really reward. Father to Son is great as well. Loser Gone Wild, I do like Roger's song on this, although it doesn't get a lot of credit. And Someday One Day by Brian, I think, is one of his good acoustic bass songs with him singing. And last night I showed this as my 3rd favourite album of 1975. This is their best. This is, for me, what Queen's all about. This has it all. And Death in Two Legs, a real attack on the previous manager. I didn't mention I'm in love with my car, which I used to detest, but I really do like it now. 39 is my favourite Brian May song, period. Love of My Life is probably one of Freddie's best ballads. Yeah, so this is my number 1. Sorry James, I know this is quite low down, but for me it's number 1. So anyway, that's my Queen top 15 albums. They had 15, 14 while Freddie was alive. I don't count Cosmos Rocks with Paul Rodgers. If I did, it would be last by a long way, because it's rubbish. But anyway, all the best, and thanks for watching. Cheers now, bye bye.